The classic almond coloration is one of the most beautiful and highly sought after phenotypes available in domestic pigeons. It is a gorgeous combination of black, white, red and bronze all on the same bird, sometimes even on the same feather. And the colour changes massively over the life of the pigeon, making almond breeding even more interesting and challenging. One of the most common questions I'm asked in YouTube comments is, how do you breed an almond? Today, we're going to answer that question. Just quickly before we start, some people have asked if my genetics and colour videos apply to all pigeons, or just certain breeds. The answer is yes, all domestic pigeons follow the same genetic rules, so you can use the tips in this video for any breed. It doesn't matter if you have racing pigeons, Medinas, rollers, or anything else. Genetics work the same in all pigeons. Part of the challenge in breeding a good quality almond is that there isn't actually a single almond gene. The classic colour most people think of when they hear the word almond is actually a combination of 4 or 5 genes working together. These genes are a blue colour base, a T-check pattern, kite bronze, recessive red, and most importantly, stipper. The first two are fairly simple. The bird needs to be a blue base colour, that is, not ash red or brown. The pattern needs to be a dark check. The other pattern alleles, barless, bar and check, are too light and will not give you the desired deep black colour in your almond. It doesn't matter too much if your bird carries any other pattern, as T-check is the most dominant and will cover over any other pattern being carried. But just remember, the pigeon might pass on its hidden pattern gene to the next generation if it isn't homozygous T-check, so you might not breed perfect almonds. Okay, so these are the first 2 ingredients in a classic almond pigeon: a blue base and T-pattern check. Now let's look at stipper. This is the main gene responsible for the speckled, white and broken coloration in almonds. This gene allows the other colours to randomly bleed through and can lead to 3 or 4 colours appearing on a single feather. Like I said earlier, there is no almond gene, but when people often erroneously refer to an almond gene, it is stipper that they're talking about. This pigeon is a heterozygous stipper of a blue check pattern, with none of the other required genes to make the almond phenotype. This bird is very young and will molt into a darker colour as she matures, but as you can see, without the other genes in the mix, she looks nothing like a classic almond. Stipper is sex-linked and dominant, meaning cocks can carry and express 2 copies of the gene, and hens only 1. However, homozygous stipper is usually lethal. Often the eggs won't even hatch, and the birds that survive are often blind, weak, and nearly white. Typically, unless you have a good reason for doing so, almonds should not be paired together. So that's one more of the ingredients in our almond recipe: heterozygous or hemizygous stipper. The next is kite bronze. Kite is usually the bronze preferred by breeders, but there are various bronzes found in different pigeon breeds, and many will have the same impact on the almond phenotype. Kite is a dominant gene, so again, like the T pattern, a pigeon only needs to carry 1 copy to create an almond phenotype, but homozygous kite is obviously better for breeding. The bronze is able to resist the depigmentation effect of the stipper gene more than the blue or black base can, so some feathers will show through with bronze instead of white. So that's our 4th ingredient, kite, or a similar bronze gene. The final ingredient in the mix is recessive red. This is a fairly common mutation and is usually easy to find. And again, like the bronze, this red coloration is more resistant to the stipper effect and leads to a nice red ground colour over much of the pigeon. Unlike the other modifiers though, the recessive red must be heterozygous. If the pigeon carries 2 copies of the recessive red gene as well as stipper, you'll end up with what is called a duroy. Although this is a very pretty colour and is very useful in almond breeding, it is not a true almond itself. So there you have it. These genes are the ingredients you need to breed a classic almond. What makes it so challenging is that not only do you need to get all these genes onto the same bird, but stipper is also a gene that is highly variable and ever-changing in its expression. Even with the correct genotype, your almond might never look exactly how you'd like. And because the appearance of almond pigeons changes with every molt, you could breed a bird that looks like a perfect almond one year, and appears as a completely different bird in the next. The challenge of breeding classic almonds has captivated pigeon breeders for centuries, and no doubt will continue to in the future. As well as classic almond, there are also some phenotypes that are the result of the stippler gene in combination with different genes or modifiers. So although not true almonds, they can look similar. Some of these are otherwise typical almonds, but on a different base colour, either ash red or brown instead of blue. Another is a favourite of mine, stippler in combination with the spread gene, which creates what I like to call black almonds. There are many other colorations that are similar to the classic almond, and the stippler gene actually has quite a number of alleles that all have slightly different effects. I'll make a video on these genes in the future. As well as this, some breeds have slightly different genetic requirements for their almond equivalent colours. What I've described today is the recipe for the classic almond coloration made popular by English tumbler breeders. But before we finish, let's look at a colour that is often confused for almond, but actually has no relation to it at all. This is an ash red spread cock, who is also carrying one copy of the blue base colour gene. Because of this, he has quite a lot of black flecking over the top of his ash colour, and breeding a pigeon like this often causes inexperienced fanciers to believe they have an almond pigeon. Unfortunately, ash red spread is not almond, but on the plus side, ash spread is much easier to breed. I'm going to continue making how to breed videos like this one, along with the regular genetics series, so please let me know what colour you'd like me to cover next, and don't forget to subscribe for the next one. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer them.